Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball discussion about the Tournament of Power. And today, I kind of want to take another perspective on things here, guys, because I've been told by many people that I've been extremely critical of Dragon Ball Super, and I've also been told by many people that I've also been extremely soft on Dragon Ball Super, and I think because of this, it's led me into feeling like I'm in sort of this limbo state where a lot of the community really hates the show, a lot of the community really loves the show, and after seeing a lot of your comments in my comment sections and seeing what a lot of people post on Kanzenshu, I noticed that Super is becoming more mixed as the Tournament of Power is approaching its finale. And in this video today, I'm actually going to take the positive approach and actually defend the Tournament of Power as a concept without looking at the execution and saying why, in my opinion, and in a lot of opinion of Dragon Ball fans, why the Tournament of Power is by far one of the best arcs in terms of its actual conception within the Dragon Ball series, and I'll be supporting all of this today. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, what motivated me to talk about this? Well, I've been talking to my friend Bob the Bahamian the other day. You guys would know him as Duct Tape Razik. I mean, he changes his name every 2 or 3 months, but I'm not that different from him because I often change my name too. And we had this long conversation over the phone. We were talking about how if you look away from the actual execution of the Tournament of Power, this is probably the most ambitious task that Dragon Ball has ever created, and in many ways I give Dragon Ball Super credit for this. And let's think about this. A lot of people have criticized the Tournament of Power and Dragon Ball Super as a whole because from the very beginning of the series, it was said that there were 12 universes that exist, and it was also mentioned that there were actually originally 18 universes, but in a temper tantrum, Zeno erased 6 out of the original 18, leaving us with only 12 that are left. And because of this, it made me say to myself, if Zeno erased these universes, and there are all of these universes throughout the Dragon Ball world, then we should actually have a lot more exposure to them. And a lot of people felt that Goku and his friends should go off into these other universes, explore, test Goku's strength against other characters, and see what kind of a story you can build with actually having other universes and other plots in those specific universes. And although I think that's a great idea to have Goku and his friends just exploring these other universes in a similar way to how they did it at the beginning of Dragon Ball GT, there's a lot of reasons why this is sort of impossible to happen. And one of the key reasons that I bring up about this a lot with my friends is the fact that it doesn't really give a good reason in Dragon Ball Super for Goku to go out of Universe 7. And why do I say this? Well, let's think about this here. What would really motivate Goku into going into a random universe for absolutely no reason? Story-wise, these are universes with billions of life forms and billions of people who are both strong and weak. So what would just randomly make Goku and his friends want to go to, let's say, a Universe 3? There's no real connection that Universe 7 has to Universe 3. There are some strong fighters and some robots in Universe 3, but there really wouldn't have been a story reason as to why Goku would have needed to go over there unless you say there is a villain in that universe that poses a threat to Goku and his friends. And this brings me back to going into the future Trunks arc. Goku and Beerus and Whis all went over to Universe 10 to visit both Gowasu and Zamasu, but they actually had a reason here. The reason was because of the fact that when we saw Goku Black come back from the future, Whis and Beerus detected that there was a similar life form in Universe 10 that had a similar key signature to Goku Black. So obviously, if Goku Black is similar to Zamasu, they would have an incentive into going into Universe 10. If it wasn't for the advent of Goku Black being in existence in the Dragon Ball story, Goku would have never have had any reason to go into Universe 10 in the first place, which leads me into my next point. All of the universes are great for existing for future plot points, but in reality it wouldn't have made any sense for Goku to go with them because Goku just focuses most of his time in Universe 7. And I think that the Tournament of Power is by far one of the best ways that actually makes uses of all of these universes, because when you think about it, what other way can you use all of these universes simultaneously? Well, out of the 12 universes that we have, 4 of them are exempt, and 8 of them are actually participating in the Tournament of Power, and out of the 8 that are participating, Goku has to prove himself and all of his friends that Universe 7 can actually be the most dominant. So, although it's a simplistic plot, having a multiversal tournament was by far probably the most realistic way that the Dragon Ball Super story could have ever have created a storyline that actually features multiple universes at once. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is actually dealing with Universe 6 here, guys. Because if you think about it, other than Universe 11 now, because we see the relationship that Goku and Jiren have, created in going into the Tournament of Power and creating this rivalry with Ultra Instinct versus Jiren's abilities, we now have a situation where Universe 6 was the only universe that Goku would have had a legitimate incentive into going to on his own will. We see this when Vegeta was talking to Kaba about visiting the king of planet Sadala, and, obviously showing the whole royalty bloodline between Vegeta and his family and friends versus planet Sadala. And then when we also see the advent of both Kale and Caulifla, there have been some seeds that have been planted with Universe 6 that would obviously be a good storyline in the future had there been a villain that existed in Universe 6 that required the assistance of Goku and Vegeta to go over and help. And because of the Saiyan to Saiyan connection, there's obviously a lot of storytelling that you could do with both Vegeta, Kaba, Kale, and Caulifla, and all of the potential that these characters can learn in terms of growing as Saiyans and maximizing their actual abilities. And when you look at it, Universe 6 being a twin universe of Universe 7 obviously gives us another point here, because when you look at other characters like Head and Botamo and Magetta and all of these characters, they are characters that are in a twin universe of Universe 7, obviously looking at Frost 2. So story-wise, because of the universes being so similar as twin universes, and because Champa and Beerus and Vados and Whis are all connected in one way or another, that would obviously mean that Universe 6 would have only have been the other universe that would have legitimately have given Universe 7 to go into in the first place. So when you compare all of the other universes, that's the only thing that makes sense. And when we analyze Universe 2, guys, I think Universe 2 is an interesting universe here too, and I talked about this in a theory video I did with Geekdom. And for those of you who don't know, it was revealed a long time ago that Zarbuto is actually a Tuffle from Universe 2, and it was actually revealed in a leak from the Toei website when they were actually featuring all of the characters. And it was also revealed, as we all know, that Jamise is actually a Yardrat. And other than Universe 6, Universe 2 would have been the other universe that I felt could have somewhat created a storyline that would have affected Universe 7, since there are 2 distinct races that we only thought existed in Universe 7 that also happen to exist in Universe 2. So really, when you think about it, all of those universes are the only reasons as to why Goku and his friends would have had to have ventured out of Universe 7 in the first place. And if we were to talk about a few other things here, guys, we also have to talk about the actual proving of who's the strongest mortal. So, I think the best way we could all put this is that before the advent of Dragon Ball Super and Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F, we all thought that Universe 7 was the only universe that actually existed within the Dragon Ball storyline. And because of the fact that Goku has achieved such feats within Universe 7 that put him on a completely another level from all of the other mortals in Universe 7, introducing Beerus created a godlike character that now makes Goku have to push his power even further. And then when you introduce all of these other universes, other than actually knowing a specific plot and dealing with them, there's always been that question as to, would Goku actually be the strongest mortal had he tested himself against other mortals and other universes? And that's one of the reasons why I think the Tournament of Power is a great idea, because it shows you the pecking order of having some universes like Universe 10 and Universe 9 that are essentially the jobber universes and are at the bottom of the totem pole, whereas in fact you look at Universe 7 and Universe 11 and Universe 6 and Universe 2 and you say that those are at the top of the pecking order. So even in this entire multiverse, there's a pecking order of which universe produces the strongest characters. And I think in trying to assemble an actual team of 10 fighters and 80 fighters itself is definitely one of the biggest things that Dragon Ball has ever had, because in many ways you guys have to factor in that Toei and Akira Toriyama and Toyo Taro had to actually sit down and design 80 fighters with different names from different universes to actually participate in all of this, on top of all of the gods and the angels and the supreme kais that are also being in participation of the tournament itself. And another thing I also loved about the Tournament of Power is that when you actually look at all of these different universes, many of these universes had their own theme. Universe 4 had like this very wonky theme of like these fantasy like looking characters. Universe 3 had all of these robotic like characters controlled by Dr. Pepperoni. Then we have Universe 6, which is essentially like a carbon copy of Universe 7. And then even going into Universe 11, we have like a superhero Tokusentai theme with all of the Pride Troopers. So I do also appreciate that all of these different universes had their own theme, especially when you look at the fact that Universe 2 also has that magical girl theme that Hale, Zeon, and my friend Mozilla Vulpix have gone in depth about before. So that's also something I felt that added a little bit of richness to the Tournament of Power and making every universe feel different from one another. So in many ways, although the execution may have been wonky at times, and although there were a lot of episodes that I personally felt were weak that I'll go into in a deeper video in the future, I definitely have to give Dragon Ball Super credit in terms of the attempt of them doing this. Obviously, they took a lot of shortcuts by having certain episodes where you just see explosions going on in the back and nothing's really happening. But in many ways, this was by far the biggest thing that the Dragon Ball story has ever attempted, and regardless of the execution, I definitely think that the Tournament of Power is the greatest plot attempt that the Dragon Ball franchise has ever had. So with everything else said, guys, that's essentially been my take on why I defend the Tournament of Power as a plot. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below as to what you think about the plot specifically as a concept and not specifically going into its actual execution, which we'll talk about later on in the future. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.